Many people tell you that for scoring high in CELPIP Writing Task 2, you need to memorize lots of advanced words and academic vocabulary and use them in your writing. But I can tell you, this is the place you lose marks. In a moment, I will show you a writing that is full of fancy words, but still cannot get even 8. And then I show you a 4-part map that you can use in your writing task 2 and get a perfect score for any kind of questions. I suggest you wait until the end. We will rewrite some samples together and see how they improve by following the 4-part map for CELPIP Writing Task 2. Well, before we look at the fancy example, let's review what Writing Task 2 is. Because if you don't know that and you confuse it with Task 1, this is the first place that you're going to lose some points. Writing Task 2 is a survey. You know that in this task, they give us a short situation. Usually our city, our building, or our workplace is deciding something. And we choose one side and explain why. We have 26 minutes and we should write between 150 to 200 words. But here's a tip that most students don't know. If you write less than 130 words, your answer looks kind of empty and not with enough details. And if we go over 220 words, we are somehow repeating ourselves, using filler words, and not giving useful information. So I can say the best number is 180 words. It's better to aim for that when writing the task 2. And one more thing, don't confuse it with task 1. Task 1 is email, it needs greetings, sign off, but task 2 is answering to a survey. So they don't need any greeting or any sign-off. Just start with your opinion and write it kind of like an essay. The question is, how is it scored? It's like task 1. It's scored on 4 parts. Content and coherence. It means, do our ideas make sense and connect together? Vocabulary. It means the right words, not the biggest words. Readability. Clean grammar and easy sentences. And the 4th one, task fulfillment. It means, did you really answer the question? So don't forget these 4 parts: content and coherence, vocabulary, readability, and task fulfillment. Every mistake we see is just one of these 4 going wrong. Well, how can we cover all of these 4? We use one map that can be applied for every question, and we're going to see it now. Here's the whole map on the screen. It has 4 parts, and I suggest you take a screenshot of this one. Let's review it together. Part 1 is the opening. What is the opening? It is one sentence where we say which option we choose and our main reason. We cannot say both options are good. We choose one side immediately in the first line. Part 2 is our first reason with one short example. Just one idea and we make it real with a small example from daily life. Part 3 is our second reason, again with an example. But this one should look at the topic from a different side. Part 4 is the close. We finish our answer with one sentence and a small note about the other option. And wait here, because many students get low scores because of this. They think that this note is optional. But to be honest, it's very important if you want to get perfect score in CELPIP Writing Task 2. When we say this note, the examiner will understand that we can think on both sides, that we have a logic in our mind, and we can handle it in writing in English. So when you say it, you're going to score in 2 of the 4 parts that we mentioned earlier. And if we skip it, we are going to lose some points. So don't forget the 4-part map in writing task 2 in CELPIP. The choice, the first reason, the second reason, and the close. Don't forget, the close comes with a note about the other option. And if you want to practice this map on real questions, go to CELTESTPIP.com, choose one of the many sample questions in writing task 2, start applying this 4-part map in your answer, then submit and see your score. If you don't get a perfect score, you will see the platform shows you your mistakes, how you can improve it, and how you can write perfectly in the test day. Well, this map works for the both types of writing task 2. But is it 2 types? Yes. Many people think that writing task 2 in CELPIP is only opinion, option A or option B. But sometimes in the exam day, you will see that they ask you, do you agree or disagree with an idea? It's kind of the same, but a little different. Let's see how it works. One of the examples for the types that ask for being agree or disagree is this. The community center should stay open until 9 o'clock. Do you agree or disagree? But I have some good news for you. Don't be stressed for these type of questions. The four-part map we mentioned earlier works here as well. But instead of option A, option B, we have agree and disagree. So your option A can be agreement and option B can be disagreement. The map works here as well. You just choose your option and give reasons and examples for that. There's only some minor differences. For example, for the first type, we say I choose option A. For the second one, we say I agree, just this, or I disagree. The other difference is the note that I said we have to write at the end. At the end of agreement, disagreement questions, we just write one short sentence about the other opinion. Well, so there's no need to memorize two templates. And memorizing templates is not going to work that well for you. I suggest memorizing the maps, memorizing the structures. This four-part structure works for both types of writing task 2 questions. You just learn how to use it and you can use it for both of them. Well, as you saw, the map is simple, but why still many students with perfect English cannot get higher than 7 in CELPIP? Because of 3 mistakes. I'll cover them one by one, and the second one is very important and very repeated in many students. Mistake number 1 is the memorized template. I see many students look for ready templates on websites, on different platforms, on YouTube and everywhere, and try to memorize them word by word and just add some words to them in their answers. Well, the examiners, the system, and the people who rate your score see thousands of answers every day, and they are familiar with these templates. When you use them blindly and just put your words in them, they will understand that your English is not that well. You're just good at memorizing some words. But if you practice the map and learn the structure, you can use any word or vocabulary inside the structure and answer every question easily. Mistake number 2 often happens for the people who are good in vocabulary knowledge and make that mistake because somebody told them to write like this. They use fancy words, academic words, for just answering to a survey. Let's see this example together. You see, when we read it, it sounds educated, right? Vulnerable residents are not burdened with the inconvenience of retrieving meals. Temperature degradation. This approach promotes inclusivity and safeguards the well-being. The grammar is clean, but still I think it cannot even get a 10. Why does it happen? Because the examiner is not looking for big words, fancy words, academic vocabulary. They are looking for appropriateness, the right word in the right place. Many of the examples we saw in this answer, for example, temperature degradation, it just means the food gets cold. And when we use words like safeguards and optimizes one after another, the answer looks like a company document or an academic article from a PhD student, not a simple answer to a survey. So the examiner is not going to give you perfect score for that. And there is one more problem. When we look for big words, fancy words, we sometimes forget the small things we should follow. For example, using comma in the right place. Even in this example, we saw a missing comma because the writer just wanted to inject as many fancy words as possible, and they just somehow lost the focus to write perfectly. Mistake number 3 is about choosing. Many students spend about 4 or 5 minutes just thinking which option to choose. There is no correct option here. Both of them are good, but you only need to pick one of them. And the one that you pick, you have to stick to it. You cannot say both options are good or I both agree and disagree. You just need to pick one of them and continue writing with that. And which one should you choose? The one that is easier to explain. I can say there's no need to be honest in your writing because only English matters, and just choose the one that you can explain easier and faster. Here's a question for you. Has anybody told you to memorize fancy academic words for CELPIP? If yes, please comment fancy or any word like this so we can count how many people receive the same advice for using advanced vocabulary, which is not a good advice. Well, now let's fix the real answer together. We will analyze one question with 3 different answers. The first one is the food delivery survey. The lobby desk or the driver brings it to our door are the options. Let's look at the first version together. This student chose option B and wrote it like this. Well, you see, this is very good because some people are old. Door delivery is very important. It is more easy for everyone. The idea is correct, but look at the words. Very good, not nice. Again and again repeating them. The sentences are long and they don't stop. And we say more easy instead of easier. So this answer gets about a 6. The students understood the question, but English is not controlled. The second version is the fancy answer. It looks impressive, but the words are too heavy and the score stays low. So one version is too simple and one version is too heavy. What we need is the middle. And this is our third version. Version 3, the same option, the same 4-part map, but now it sounds like a real person who writes well. Let's read it together. I support option B. Delivery drivers should keep bringing orders straight to the residents' doors. Convenience matters here, but the bigger issue is that some tenants simply cannot manage a trip to the lobby every time they order. First, door-to-door delivery protects the people who rely on it most. Elderly residents and parents with young children can't easily leave an apartment to collect a meal downstairs. On my floor, an older neighbor orders dinner most evenings because cooking is hard for her. Asking her to walk down and back would take away that independence. Second, keeping deliveries at the door avoid mix-ups and cold food. If every order piles up at one desk, meals sit out, get cold, and are easy to grab by mistake, and residents paid for warm, correct food. Admittedly, some neighbors worry about security and evening noise. But that's fixable. Check driver ID or set delivery hours without ending a service people depend on. For these reasons, the building should keep door-to-door delivery. Did you understand how we did it? You see, we used a real example for our own floor, not general sentences. And we also answered the other side. We didn't ignore it in this sample. And the words rely on, mix-ups, depend on, they are simple words and they are used in the perfect place to show the vocabulary knowledge. Well, we have one more thing to remember. We have a checklist. It takes only 60 seconds. It's good to have it in your mind or maybe on paper when you are practicing and review it before submitting your answer. Let's review it together. I suggest you take a screenshot of this one too. Number 1, did we choose our side in the first line? Number 2, do we have 2 reasons and does each one have a real example? Number 3, do we have that short note about the other option near the end? Number 4, did we keep our words simple? And number 5, are we between 150 and 200 words, close to 180? It takes about 60 seconds. And what I saw in my students following it, this 60 seconds can be the difference between getting 7 or 10 when practicing and in the test day. Well, today we covered everything you need to answer CELPIP Writing Task 2. The rest is up to you. Go to CELTESTPIP.com, start practicing today using the 4-part map, answering each question perfectly. And if you didn't get perfect score, just check the instant feedback by the platform and try to learn from your mistakes. Don't forget, before submitting your answers, just follow the 60-second checklist we covered together. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the weekly tips and tricks we have for every sections of CELPIP exam. And this video is part of our free course on CELPIP writing. Just go to CELTESTPIP.com. In the courses section, you can see we have courses for all of the sections, including writing. Start learning there and practice as much as you can. As I say all the time, never stop practicing. See you soon.